So this was supposed to be an 80K Q&A. Y'all are so quick that this is closer to 90K than 80K. We're at 87,000, so that's crazy. What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another video. Today is technically my 80,000 subscriber Q&A video. In case you missed it, I posted on my community tab, which I do pretty often, so make sure you're checking that out if you want to be a part of this kind of fun stuff. And asked for people to submit questions. I got almost 50 comments, and I think over 50% of those comments have more than one question in them, so I'm gonna get through as many as I can today while being mindful of time. Some of them are Demon Slayer related, some of them are personal life related, so we're gonna have a good mix today. But seriously, this is a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting me. At the beginning of this year, I set a goal for myself of hitting 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and at this point, I'm actually feeling like that could genuinely happen, and you can help out with that goal. If you are watching this video and you are not subscribed, you can hit that subscribe button and be a part of the fun here on this channel. We talk a lot of Demon Slayer, we're introducing a lot of other animes, maybe some skating stuff here and there, so you definitely want to hit that subscribe button. Liking the video is free, and leaving a comment is free as well, and it helps the algorithm boost so that I can reach that 100,000 goal. Also, I am not big enough to get sponsorships yet, so I have memberships available in my channel, and I think a lot of people don't know that. So I have two tiers. The first tier is the Kamaboko Squad. That is only $3 a month, and that gets you early access to all my videos as well as some fun emojis. The second tier is the Hashira tier, which is just $5 a month, and you get the early release videos, the fun emojis, as well as priority reply in the comments. And coming soon, once I hit a certain amount of members at that tier, I'll start doing some members only live streams. So you definitely want to check that out. Okay, but enough about that. Let's dive into my personal life. All right, so the very first question that was submitted, this is a banger that might make people upset. I don't know, we'll see. Thoughts on the Giyu and Shinobu ship? I'm gonna be totally for real, y'all. I am definitely more of a Sana-Giyu shipper. Don't boo me, okay? I just like that ship better. However, I have gone back and forth on shipping Giyu and Shinobu. I see the appeal, I understand why people ship it, and I have in the past. I just kind of grew out of it. I think it's mostly because of just really understanding the story, and I can't really say much because I don't want to say manga spoilers, but I've actually made a video about it. I'll put it in the description about why I ship Sana-Giyu, and I prefer that ship for those two characters. I would say Giyu and Shinobu is probably my second favorite Giyu ship. I don't know, it's like one of those things where I see them more as friends, but I can see the appeal, and yeah, that's that. I don't want to make people feel like I hate that ship. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Sorry. Who would you ship with Zenitsu besides Nezuko? All right, we're getting really deep with these shipping questions. I should make some more ship videos because it seems that you like it. I think when it comes to shipping with Zenitsu, so the way my brain works is I always focus more on the ships involving the characters that I like really, really love. If you've been watching me for a while, you might know I do love Zenitsu. He's just my least favorite of the Kamaboko Squad because I find him annoying. I don't think that he's a bad character. There's just things about him that I don't enjoy. So I don't think much about ships with him. I would say maybe, I've never even thought about it. I literally have only thought about shipping Zenitsu with Nezuko. I know a lot of people ship him with Tanjiro. I'm not the biggest fan of that ship. I can see the appeal. I don't particularly love the ship, mostly because I do think Zenitsu is one of the only people in universe that can make Tanjiro actually annoyed. So that's not really an answer, I guess. I'm trying to answer these as quickly as possible so that I can get through as many as possible. Who would I ship with Zenitsu besides Nezuko? Probably Inosuke. I think that would be my next best. Who is your least favorite Demon Slayer character besides a demon? I don't know. I should have read these. I should have prepared my answers beforehand. Least favorite character that's not a demon. I'm literally like running through the entire story in my head, trying to find characters that are not demons that I dislike. Honestly, the way the humans are written in Demon Slayer, I genuinely enjoy most of them. I would have to say probably like that one super cocky Demon Slayer that tried to kill Rui and then got destroyed instantly. I didn't like the way he talked. That's such a cop-out answer. I don't know. I genuinely love so many of the characters in Demon Slayer. There's actually very few characters I genuinely hate, and they're definitely demons, like Gyoko. So, all right, so I got this question a lot. So if you were one of the people that asked this, I'm answering all of you. Will you ever do any content on other animes except Demon Slayer? So I actually do. Yes, Demon Slayer is the majority of my content. However, if you just go to my page, you can see my most recent video is a Naruto related video, and I've been making Naruto videos all year long. Yes, they've been sporadic. They have not been as consistent as Demon Slayer content, as well as some others. I talk about Medalist, which is a figure skating anime. I am a figure skater, so I talk about that a lot, and I'm wanting to introduce a lot of other animes. Now, since so many of you did ask this question, I have a request out of you. The reason that I mostly do Demon Slayer content is, one, because it is my hyperfixation, so it does take up majority of my brain. It can be difficult sometimes to make content that's not about my hyperfixation. I've seen, I think it's somewhere around 75 animes at this point, and I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of them, but it's much harder for me to compartmentalize that part of my brain to be able to make it into content. But I also get way less views, and I mean way less views on my non-Demon Slayer content. Now, it is important for you to understand that I don't 100% do this just for views. However, as someone who does want to make this my full-time job, when I see those videos just not get that many views, and I mean my current one for Naruto, the one that I just posted, has not even reached 200 views, and it's been out for 3 days. My Demon Slayer content hits 1,000 views before the 24-hour mark, so if that gives you an idea, I worry when I post non-Demon Slayer stuff and it just doesn't get as many views, and the algorithm is like, all the messages are telling me no one's watching your video, people aren't interested in this. I worry that YouTube is going to start to kind of block out my content from everyone, like all of my content. So my long drawn out way of saying, if you want to see more anime content from me, I want to talk about the Apothecary Diaries. I want to talk about some of my underrated animes that I've seen. I want to talk about Attack on Titan. I want to talk about all these other animes. You guys need to watch the stuff that I'm putting out now that's not about Demon Slayer. I need to start to see that it's gonna pay off, because it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort to make those videos, and whenever I see these videos be so poor performing compared to my Demon Slayer stuff, it can be something that worries me just with the algorithm and that sort of thing. Again, I'm not in it just for views. I do have to think about that though. That's something that I think is kind of, when content creators say, oh, I don't care about views, they're lying. They're absolutely lying. The views that we have on our videos is what is making us successful. And when it's a little bit more than a hobby, it's a goal to make it full time, I do have to think about what my audience wants. So if you genuinely want more anime content, you gotta watch the ones that I'm already posting. That's my request out of you. If I start to see some higher viewed content that I put out that's not Demon Slayer related, I'll start to introduce it more and more to my channel. I'm also going to steer clear from manga spoiler questions this time around, so if you ask me things that are specific to the manga, I will not be answering it. I should have specified that in the post. I'm so sorry. I'll do maybe a manga one at some point, but I'm gonna answer this one using an anime death. What deaths in Demon Slayer made you sob? Rengoku, honestly, I cry harder every single time I watch it. And again, I've talked about this. It's not necessarily because of Rengoku dying. I love Rengoku. It's because of Tanjiro's just whole reaction and what he goes through and how he carries on Rengoku's will after that. That's what makes me super emotional about it. But there are definitely some deaths to come I'm not ready for, let's just say. So that's a perfect way to segue into my next question. What do you think of Rengoku? I love Rengoku. I sit squarely in the middle of the conversation of people saying they don't care about him at all because we didn't get that much screen time with him, and the people who love him so much that he's their favorite character. Rengoku had been my second favorite Hashira for quite a while, and then over time he kind of moved down a little bit more and more. I still very much love him. He's still probably, I would say, like 3 or 4. My Hashira rankings literally rotate outside of my favorite Hashira always being Gyu. That will never change. Everyone else rotates very consistently, so it's really hard because I love all 9 of them so much. But with Rengoku, I like him. I love him. Like, I genuinely love him. I do think that people are allowed to have him as as their favorite character. People are allowed to say, like, I didn't really see all the hype around him. I think both of those are valid because we didn't have that much time with him. I felt like he was just developed really well in the short period of time that we had and had a very lovable personality, so a lot of people just fell in love, and that makes sense. So that's how I feel about Rengoku. Okay, I got asked this a few times, but I've already kind of answered it. Is YouTube my full-time job? No, I actually work in the corporate world. I am a corporate trainer for a company that I work from home for. I really enjoy it. It's genuinely a very enjoyable job. This one's simple. Are you in a relationship? Yes. I've been married for 6 years. And my husband is actually the reason I watch anime in the first place. So give him the, woo, go Hannah's husband. He's the reason why I do this, yay. Okay, this one's fun and not Demon Slayer related. What do you use to learn Japanese? So for those of you who don't know, I've been studying Japanese for a little while now, and I have used a lot of different things to study Japanese. Everyone's a little bit different. It started on Duolingo, which that's the only thing I would suggest not doing because I did that for over a year and got nowhere. Use it as a flashcard system if you need to. Learn, hiragana, katakana if you want to via Duolingo as a flashcard and maybe some basic vocabularies, but once it's starting to teach you grammar and sentences, I would say steer clear of Duolingo. I then moved into, I actually did a Japanese 101 class at a local community college. I learned a lot through that. They had me go through the Genki textbook, which has been really helpful. I then kind of studied on my own for a while, tried to do it via like YouTube videos and that sort of thing, but I am someone who needs a little bit of guidance when it comes to learning things. So I decided to get a personal tutor, and that's what I've been doing for over a year now. My sensei is absolutely amazing. She is so incredible at teaching, and I've learned so much from her, and she watches my channels, so if she's watching, konnichiwa. But she's been absolutely amazing, and I've made huge improvements since then. I'm still not confident enough to make videos fully in Japanese, but I hope to someday. I'm just not making myself do it until I know that I can do it at least well enough that I'm not embarrassed, but that's what I do. And then she just assigns me homework and I work on that along with still working on like getting through my Genki book, watching YouTube videos, that sort of thing. When it comes to language learning, everyone's a little bit different and you have to be willing to put in time. That's the biggest thing, is if you put in the time, you will see a change and you will learn. So you didn't ask for advice, but there it is. Is Demon Slayer your favorite / first anime? So it is obviously my favorite anime. It is my hyperfixation. I love it dearly, but it was actually probably around at least my 5th anime, if not my 10th. I watched it pretty early on to my anime journey, but I definitely saw things like Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul, My Hero Academia. Yuri on Ice was my first anime, but I hardly count it because I only watched it because it was skating and everyone in the skating world was watching it at the time. I was not interested in anime when it was coming out, which was 2016. So not my first, but definitely my favorite. What do you think of Muzan as a villain? Upper Moons are better than him. I actually really like the way they write Muzan to be much less complicated than the Upper Moons. I like the stories. I feel like Avatar Last Airbender is this way too, where Avatar's main villain, Ozai, was kind of just a bad guy. Like he he just was a bad person that wanted full control over the world and was willing to kill thousands of innocent people for it. While the other villains, like Zuko and Iroh, they are the more well-written characters because they represent being victims of the main villain. And I think Demon Slayer is the same way. I think all of the Upper Moon, save for a few like Doma and Gyoko and Enmu, are more victims of Muzan. They were manipulated into becoming demons or had no choice at all, like we saw with Akaza. But Muzan just is a bad person that genuinely just wants to live forever and have full control over the world. And I like when stories do that. I don't think the main villain has to be always this super complicated character that is super humanized. I think it's better when the supporting villains are more humanized, but the main villain is someone that we can stick by the fact that we don't like them. How did you become such a huge Demon Slayer fan? My love for Demon Slayer grew over time as I watched the show. I definitely really loved it from the start, but when I started it, I was very gung-ho Attack on Titan, and I was very focused on my love for that, and Demon Slayer was something where I was like, okay, I like it, but it's not Attack on Titan. And then at some point, I think it was actually when Entertainment District was airing, the brightest anime timeline of Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer Sundays happening at the same time. When the new season started for Attack on Titan was the day that episode 6 of Entertainment District came out, which is Layered Memories. It's when Tanjiro had the blood tears and went ham on Daki. And for some reason that week, I did have COVID, so I was stuck at home. I think I was home for 2 weeks altogether. And I found myself just rewatching that episode of Demon Slayer more than I was rewatching the episode of Attack on Titan that I was arguably more excited about coming out. And after a few weeks, I started making Demon Slayer content, and Demon Slayer just started overtaking more of my brain than Attack on Titan, and it became my favorite. That's really the only way I can describe it. What inspired you to watch Demon Slayer? Honestly, at the time, I was mainly an Avatar: The Last Airbender content creator on TikTok, and a lot of people were suggesting that I watch it because there are some similarities. You know, there's similarities between the main characters, of their personalities, and the elements side of things. People were suggesting it, and then literally one day my husband and I were just scrolling through Netflix, and he had heard about it a little bit, I had heard about it a little bit. We had nothing to do, so we said, all right, let's watch it. The rest is history. Who is your favorite demon and why? So my favorite demon is Kokushibo, Upper One. I can't really go into detail about why he's my favorite because that is a manga spoiler, and like I said, I'm not going to have manga spoilers in this video. Let's just say I found his character to be very interesting, and that's what draws me into him, is I felt like he was a little bit different than a lot of the other demons. I do love Akaza, he's my second favorite. I just feel like his story is very similar to a lot of the others. It's still very emotional and probably the best done of all of them, but I liked the way Kokushibo's story went. I'm being very, I'm not disclosing much information so I don't spoil people. Why did you start making videos about anime? I have always loved yapping about my hyperfixations. I've been that way for as long as I can remember, all the way back to when I was very young and my hyperfixation was Sleeping Beauty. I've always been someone who just kind of word vomits to everyone I know about what I love, whether they like it or not, and I realized that I needed to find myself like an avenue to yap about it so that when I talked to my friends who don't watch that kind of stuff, I can actually hold a conversation that doesn't have to do with things that they don't know. Did it work? I don't know. But I just always kind of dreamed of having a YouTube channel, and then just a couple years ago is when my TikTok was doing fairly good and I started posting short form content on here, and I was like, let's give it a go. And I started out with not getting a lot of views. Most of my long form videos were getting like 200 views or so maybe, and then I just kept on trying, and now we're getting more and more outside of my Naruto videos being absolute flops, but it is what it is. What Demon Slayer character do you think deserves more screen/book time? I love this question and I've talked about it a little bit. There's really two characters that I would say. It's definitely a tie between Mitsuri and Kanao. I love both those characters dearly, but I think they both deserved way more screen time. Mitsuri in the sense of, I feel like every single opportunity for more screen time, it gets cut, and Kanao just wasn't really much of a player until now, and we're in the final arc. So while I think Kanao's story from here gets really good, I think it would have hit better if we had gotten to see her fighting and see her on missions and growing and learning with the Kamaboko Squad and really make her a true Kamaboko Squad member. So those are the two characters I wish got more screen time. What character from Demon Slayer would you like to cosplay? I've actually cosplayed a lot of characters from Demon Slayer. They're all on my Instagram, so shameless plug, go follow me on Instagram. You'll see right off the bat the top 3 pinned posts are all Demon Slayer cosplays. But for the record, Tanjiro is absolutely my favorite one to cosplay, with Mitsuri being a close second. I love just cosplaying the happy, smiley characters because I am that person. I like to joke around, I like to be happy and smiley. So when I get to cosplay characters like that, I feel like I can be myself a little bit. Have you watched any of the Fate series? No, but it's on my list to do at some point. What is another anime you'd recommend other than Demon Slayer? I always recommend the Case Study of Vanitas. It's very different from Demon Slayer. If you're a child, I would say no. I would say it's probably more of an 18+ anime. It has the same Japanese voice actor as Tanjiro. He plays Vanitas in it, and that's what kind of got me into it. If you are under the age of 18, I would recommend The Apothecary Diaries. It's a very good show. It's a little bit harder to follow. You have to really pay attention to the details. It's much more complex, but the characters are really interesting. It's very fun, and I really enjoy The Apothecary Diaries. If you could add one extra arc where Tanjiro teams up with a Hashira, which Hashira would you choose to flesh them out even more as a character? I would love to see Tanjiro team up with Gyomei. We pretty much never see that happen, and I feel like after Hashira training especially, we see that Gyomei has so much respect for him, and I would have loved to see them fight together. I don't know why. I think that would have also helped me love Gyomei a little bit more, because I think he also just doesn't have enough time for me to love him as much as I feel like I should, because he's so cool. It would be hilarious to see him have to team up with Sanemi though. Like they go on a duo mission, like him and Sanemi, that would be hilarious. What other shows do you like that are not anime? This is a fun question, so I'm gonna be real with y'all. I mostly only watch anime these days. There's very few shows that I watch that aren't at least inspired by anime. My all-time favorite non-anime show was a show called Castle. It was out when I was in high school. It literally ran from I think 2009 to 2016. It was a really cheesy procedural crime show on ABC. I loved that show. I don't know why I loved that show so much. I was literally 15 when I became super obsessed with it. It was my Demon Slayer from my high school days. I loved it very much. It's on Hulu. It's your pretty average cheesy procedural crime show, but there was something about the characters and the story. I just loved it dearly. I also watched Stranger Things. We watched season 1 of Squid Game and really enjoyed it, but we haven't watched the other 2 because we're not really that interested in it. Also love Wednesday. That's about it. That's all I can think about right now. How many pets do you have? I have 2 pets. I have my little dog Mika, who's right over here, asleep on the floor. And she's named after Mikasa from Attack on Titan. I need to move my screen more now, okay? And then I have my cat Nezuko. Yes, her name is Nezuko. And she is being a cat and is somewhere in the house being independent. I love them very much. They are my children because I don't have children, in case anyone asks that. All right, we have time for maybe, I'm gonna answer like 2 more questions. I didn't get through as many as I wanted, but it is what it is. Some of the questions y'all are asking are literally video ideas that I have, so I don't wanna answer them. Some of y'all also asked questions that I have already made videos on. So again, just go back, look at all my long form videos. A lot of the questions you might have, I've actually already answered. So shameless plug, go binge all of my videos. Do you know any other people in real life who watch Demon Slayer? Actually, yes. My best friends, my ride or dies, we all watch anime together, and we actually met because of our shared love for Demon Slayer. We all worked at the same job. None of us work at that job anymore, but we met that way. We talked about Demon Slayer. We made a podcast, which I always link in my description. We haven't posted on it for a while. We're taking a little bit of a break because we just got a little bit too busy, but my closest friends all watch Demon Slayer because that is what I talk about most, which kind of contradicts my earlier answer, but I love my friends so much. And yeah, find yourself some friends that watch anime with you because it's pretty great. Is there any anime that you downright hate? So I've actually been thinking about this for a while because I realized there isn't. I have not watched an anime yet where I even had to drop it. There's been some that I've felt were very not as good as I was expecting, and I definitely have some hot takes on some very popular animes. I don't generally talk about that because I don't really believe in trying to be like a rage baiter and talk about things that I dislike. I like to talk about the things that I like instead. But there isn't an anime, I've never watched an anime that I downright hate. I think the lowest rating I've given an anime that I've seen was like a 5 out of 10. So yeah, there's nothing that I genuinely hate. Okay, I think I'm gonna close out with this one. So I'm sorry if I didn't get to your answer. I'm just trying to be as mindful of time here for editing purposes, and this one is probably going to be a bit of a long-winded answer. And this one is also a tiny bit manga spoilery. It's not fully manga spoilery because we know who Tanjiro has fought in the Infinity Castle, but I'm just gonna put like a small spoiler warning on this. The question is, do you think it would have made sense for Tanjiro to fight Kokushibo in the Infinity Castle, or do you think it would have just been a cool fight? Okay, so I understand why people wish Tanjiro fought Kokushibo, and that is because of the earrings and all that tie-in, but Demon Slayer has always been more of a emotionally driven, character-driven story over being like a plot and twist and like, oh, that's such a like, oh, full circle moment. It's never really focused on that, which is not necessarily bad. It's a very simple plot and they do simple very well in my opinion. So I think that Tanjiro needed to fight Akaza. He had unfinished business. He was the one who was most affected by Rengoku's death mentally and emotionally, and it really changed Tanjiro as a character when he watched that happen. And it is a very full circle moment for Tanjiro's character. He is someone who was unable to do anything the first time he saw Akaza, and then the second time he fights Akaza, he is the one who is able to save Gyu from the same fate as Rengoku and be the one to actually behead him. So I think that not only is it just a very emotionally driven fight, which is what the story has always focused on, it also is a huge moment for Tanjiro. So I see the appeal of having him fight Kokushibo. It makes sense to have the main character fight the strongest of the upper moons, but I don't think it was necessary. I think the people who end up fighting Kokushibo are the ones who were supposed to fight him, and I think that Tanjiro fighting Akaza was a very good way of doing it, and I agree with it. I think I would have been more disappointed if some random person was fighting Akaza. Like, not random, obviously. It would have been like a Hashira, maybe Inosuke, but all of the fights that happen in Demon Slayer, there's emotional connections. There's something like with Shinobu fighting Doma. He was the one who murdered her sister, so she has that emotional connection to him. Now Kanao is fighting him, and she has an emotional connection to him because he's now murdered 2 of her sisters. The third person that's going to join in with the fight, which I'm not going to say for major manga spoilers, also ends up having an emotional connection to Doma. That's the focus of the show, and I think for them to be like, oh no, I'm gonna have Tanjiro face off of Kokushibo because of the whole thing, the whole plot reason, would have been like, okay, now we're focusing on plot when we never really have. I don't know. That's my thought process on it. I've actually thought about making a whole video on it. I probably will at some point soon. So yeah, for those of you asking when the character essays are coming. They take a lot more time. I have to write full scripts for them. I have to record usually in multiple parts. I have to get a lot of screen caps from anime and spend a lot of time editing. It's just a much longer process because I want to make sure those are perfect quality. So those will come. There will be a few before the end of the year. Tanjiro's will definitely come. That'll probably be like the last one of the year just to close out 2025 for it being such a good year for me. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. So thank you all so much for submitting those questions. I'm so sorry if I did not get to yours, but like I said, I'm trying to keep this as short as possible so the turnaround doesn't take as long to get this video out. There will be more opportunity for more Q&As. There will also be more opportunity for a lot more interaction videos. I'm going to do a lot of other things I have planned for the beginning of the year and that sort of thing. So a lot of cool things coming. So again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment your thoughts, keep it respectful as per usual, and I thank you all for watching today's video, and I'll see you again for the next one. Mata ne!